Hello, everyone. Hi. It's a real treat that I have for you today. I'm like really excited about this because in all of the years, this is my 30th year as the longevity rescuer, helping people look vibrant, young, and feel fabulous, and now making money and being paid to be beautiful, and so on. There's one aspect and one key portion that I found that's like super important, and that's your attitude and your ability to attract things into your life. And today I have somebody that can help you with that in the most beautiful way. Jenny Lynn, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Allison. Thank you so much for having me as a guest.
Oh, it's absolutely a delight. And Jenny Lynn is a relationship expert, a transformation coach, a mentor, a speaker, a professional model, and a champion triple natural bodybuilder. The author of Magnetic Love, Stop Chasing What You Want, Start Attracting It. She serves both individuals and businesses globally in areas of leadership, rapid goal acceleration, self-image, finances, health and fitness, and relationships. She and her husband are among the top global consultants empowering the world with legendary thought leader Bob Proctor. So we have some really wonderful surprises for you. It's pretty darn amazing. Jenny has written a book called Magnetic Love. Stop chasing what you want, start attracting it. And it really is her gift to the world. And she's going to make that available to all of our listening audience. You just need to pay for the shipping, and we'll talk about that later. But I really, and we have some other free gifts for you too, which we'll be discussing at the end of this interview. So you're going to find out how you can tap in to what Jenny has to offer, how you can, get in contact with her, how you can work with her. But let's find out more. Let's have you have the opportunity to get a sense of who Jenny is, because she's a pretty darn incredible human being. Jenny, thank you. It's a delight. So the first thing I'd like to know from you is what you consider the most important element to success.
So in my experience, I've had different successes in life, from, bodybuilding, modeling, becoming a nurse. But I think that a lot of people kind of explore, what's the common denominator of success? And it's actually our habits. It's, you have to say to yourself, people that are successful make a habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. And a lot of that stems from our mindset because, as humans, we're creatures of habit. 95% of our behavior is habitual, meaning it doesn't require conscious thought. And what I've been studying is if we want to change our results, we have to change our programming, which causes our results. Our belief system, which causes our thoughts, which causes our actions, which causes our results. So if we want to change anything in our life on the outside and be successful, we have to realize that we have to change things on the inside, the way we're wired up here. There's a gold mine in between your ears, and that's really what I empower people to use that inner potential, bring it to the surface to create and attract anything they desire.
It's so true. Bob talked about paradigms, the paradigms that we have.
Right.
And I remember he was talking about, the fear factor that we have. And sometimes, he was giving an example of this woman who was rowing, and she was in this kind of like, I don't know, not dragon boat, but some kind of rowing competition thing. And she'd never done it in the ocean. And for her, it was like a huge paradigm shift to go out and to do it in the ocean and to face her fear. And when she faced it, it went away. All of a sudden she was just, oh, well, it's the ocean. Big deal. So do you find that fear is something that holds us back?
Yeah, and fear is just such an amazing concept when you actually understand what it is. And even more recently, I just kind of had a breakthrough about what fear actually is. It's really, again, they say that the acronym for fear is false circumstances appearing real And basically what it is we have always down to like two choices in life. We can either feed faith or we can feed fear, because they're both invisible forces that have no power over us until we choose either one. And it's literally all or nothing. There's no, I'm 50% faith, 50% fear. You're either, there's no gray. And so what I tell people, I'm like, fear is basically creating a hypothetical situation about something you're either worried about or wondering might happen that might be dangerous or might be uncomfortable, but yet you're choosing to believe a hypothetical that's not here, it's not real, but yet you're allowing it to impact your decisions and your results. So if you're going to have a choice, a conscious choice, it's like, why would you ever choose fear when you know that you could choose to believe, to have faith in this picture over here, or else I'll create the picture of fear of all the things I don't want, but I'm going to believe that. So it's that consciousness that we have to realize and develop the awareness to understand and start to actually think, and not just have all this mental activity, which is not the same as consciously thinking, and understand how do we turn that thinking into results, getting what we want, having goals that draw more of that inner potential to the surface. But also it's understanding that the most successful people, it's not that they don't ever feel fear, it's just that they develop the courage to overcome it. And basically, like I said, when you come up against what Bob calls a terror barrier, which is whenever you try to get out of your comfort zone or face a paradigm or change something about yourself, you get this violent resistance from your body. They say, I don't want change. I like routine. We don't want to do anything uncomfortable, or that might be uncomfortable. So we'll put some fear there to stop you. And that's the thing is, when you charge through a terror barrier, there's one of two choices. You can obviously bounce back and go back into bondage, the same way of thinking, or you can, again, charge through into freedom. And the more and more you do that, you create a new paradigm of courage. But again, it takes somebody to help you to kind of do a little bit of hand holding, because a lot of times, we trying to do something in life, we simply don't know how to do it. Fear comes, or retreat right back into old thinking habits and patterns. We create habits of indecision, not getting what we want. And then we get frustrated. We get less and less motivated to ever go after that goal. And then we obviously settle in life.
It's like self-doubt, it just starts creeping up if you let it, and so on. And it's funny because, like, when you're talking about fear, false evidence appearing real, and so on, it's also like worry, and I don't know where I heard this, but it's something like worry is a misuse of the imagination.
Right.
And you're helping people to visualize, aren't you? And to like see the desired outcome and to put their focus on that instead of putting their focus on the undesired outcomes, which obviously they'll attract more of. Is that right?
Correct. And yeah, I heard a quote recently too that said, it said, fear and self-doubt are the enemies to human potential. And that basically when you worry about something, again, you're basically praying for what you don't want to have happen. You're feeding it energy that you could be, the way I look at it is, when you kind of give analogies, I said, you only have so much thought power. So wasting it on something that you're worried about is just basically taking it away from what you could be focusing on about what you do want. So again, two choices. You can focus on what you don't want and you'll probably get it because, again, you're feeding that energy, versus you could be spending that same thought energy, which has just as, every ounce of power to create what you want. So again, we've got to develop the consciousness though to make that decision. Otherwise, again, if we're not deliberately creating good habits and doing this on autopilot, we're actually obviously by default prone to creating bad habits. And like I said, our imagination is one of our higher mental faculties. We actually have 6 of them. So yes, it is a misuse of the imagination, because our imagination we can create, again, the best possible scenario picture, or our imagination could go off the deep end and start to create all the things that it's like the worst case scenario. And again, obviously developing the awareness to know, what's going on in your mind, you can actually control that. One of them is through attitude. The other is through awareness. Because again, we don't want to be, reacting to our life. We want to be responding. We want to be in control. And we want to be aware of all these things that are going on that formal education never taught us. And that's the thing, is it's almost like when you kind of wake up and realize, the power of your mind, the power of these universal laws that govern our world, it really is truly liberating, to wake up and just realize, I have control over this. If I want to have quality life, it's going to depend on the quality of my thoughts, and I want to study the people that came before us that blazed the trail to success.
When you're talking about the 6 higher powers, what are they?
So we have, The 6 higher mental faculties is the will, the reason, perception, imagination, intuition, and memory. So each one of these are kind of, if you think of it like mental muscles that we were all given, we were all born with them, but it's almost like if you never use a muscle, what happens? It atrophies, it dies, and you never actually get to use it. You don't benefit by it. So those things are just kind of like dormant forces lying within us that, we've probably all heard of those things. Like, oh yeah, imagination, perception. But when you really understand the immense power, like the fact that we're very complex electromagnetic beings, and the fact that what separates us from the animal kingdom is the fact that we have a mind, we have an intellect. Otherwise, we all have the 5 senses. So do animals. They operate off of instinct. And most people are processing the world from the outside in, using the 5 senses, because that's the sensory perceptors, how we input, information from the outside and we categorize it and we feel certain ways. But when you develop these higher mental faculties, you actually learn to process the world from the inside out and actually create and actually think with reason what it is that I want, how do I get it. Obviously, when you're emotionally intelligent, that's almost more important than IQ. So basically, what I work with my clients on and what I've found is, like I said, the most successful people have highly developed mental faculties. They actually know what they are, and they work every single day to strengthen those higher mental faculties.
It is an ongoing process, isn't it? Because it's kind of like an evolution. Every time we kind of step out of our comfort zone, then our comfort zone becomes larger, but then we still have that zone and we have to stretch and step out some more and stretch and step out some more. So I don't think it ever ends. Do you think that Bob still has to do that?
Yeah, it's funny because, Bob's 83 years old. He's been teaching this information for the past 63 years. And what I really like is, Brian and I have made a habit of every morning doing some reading together. And there's some very powerful thought-provoking principles in what it is that we're reading. And what Bob has basically mastered is the art of calmness of mind. He's 83 years old. He runs 19 businesses, self-made billionaire, but yet he's so calm. It's just like, but yet he's so energetic at 83. He's got more energy on stage than most 20-year-olds. And you just wonder, like, he's just so aware, so self-aware. He's just super motivating, super inspiring. And he says, when our activities, where ceaseless activity is one with calmness of mind, we're able to like merge the two and have these opposite extremes, but yet we're at the center of everything that we do. We enter into the spirit of whatever it is we do. It's just like, an Olympic athlete, they kind of get into that mental energy and they create that picture in their mind of them, winning the race. So that's the thing is we have to, one of the things that Bob teaches that I really like is creating future memories, creating that picture of what we want in our life and actually just bringing it to the present. And that's how anything ever came to fruition in life. The ability for us to have airplanes began as a thought, as an idea in the Wright brothers' minds. And yet everybody else thought that they were crazy, and we have to realize that logic is limiting and that we literally have a limitless potential in our mind and that we have to basically break those barriers and continue to penetrate these frequency levels in our life to get on the frequencies of what we want. Otherwise, we're only going to be able to attract what we're in harmony with.
What's so interesting about what you're saying? It's almost like, these trailblazers and so on are doing something that goes against the stream because we're taught that formal education is the path to follow. Okay, you get your university educations, you get your degrees, which I did all that, many degrees. And then you get a good job and all this stuff. But like you're saying, the information that you are teaching people, the skills that you are teaching people, the awakening of their consciousness, those are things that aren't taught in school.
Correct.
And you take somebody like Bob and you take so many of these people, like even Edison and so on. These are people that didn't do the formal school route.
Right.
And they instead found the value. They discovered the value in learning these most important things that aren't taught in school at all.
Correct.
Yeah. So, this is a huge part, but when there's a couple of barriers that I run across with my work, because for so many years I was, teaching people, helping people, making online courses and so on for people to be able to have vitality and optimal health and strength and so on. But I didn't have the money piece. Now I have the money piece. I can help people with, accumulating a lot of residual income. And what Bob calls moral compensation.
Right.
And this is like a business model of network marketing, which there's so many different preconceived ideas about it and so on. Well, one of the blocks I come up against is pride. So I work with a lot of professionals, doctors and nurses and different health professionals and so on, that want to work in the field of anti-aging and help people look younger. And this block comes where they go, well, I'm a doctor and I'm also going to be a network marketer. And so they have this thing, what are people going to think about me? So it's a seeking of approval or something, or it's their self-identity that they have that's so firmly entrenched in this respectable career, when in actual fact, so many of my colleagues and so on are earning infinitely more than physicians, including specialists, and they have more time freedom and so on. But they're stuck in this thing, I have to be a lawyer, I have to be a doctor, or whatever, all these different things. What's your take on that, on pride?
Yeah, so I think that part of it is, like I said, it's our paradigm. It's just the way that we weren't programmed, to have multiple streams of income. And I'll just kind of backtrack and give everybody a little bit of a background. Is I actually last year, I went to college back in 2005, to become a nurse. And I honestly, that really wasn't my dream. It's not I wanted to be a nurse my whole life. It was more just it's a career that I think I'll like. I really like, human anatomy of the body, and I can make a good income. It's good job security. But nobody ever taught me, about being an entrepreneur where, I can work from home and make a living. It just seemed like a dream, just not a possibility for me, because I didn't go to school for business. I didn't have marketing experience. I don't know what I'm doing. But basically last year, I'm just going to explain the intense paradigm shift. Like I said, the identity that I had when I started to shift my thinking is, I met Bob Proctor in December of 2016. Me and my fiance went up to Toronto to a private event. And it was at that event that was the real turning point in my entire life. And like I said, last year, before I met Brian in August, I basically had to give up my bodybuilding career. My health was failing. I had an autoimmune disease. I was divorced. I was just, living paycheck to paycheck. I ended up finding myself living back home with my parents. So it was pretty bad. And when I met Bob in December, again, this is just a short, I met Brian, that was in July, but probably the lowest moment of my life. Met Brian in August, finally met my soulmate after 29 years of searching and, being divorced and just totally unhappy with life. I met Bob in December. That was a turning point. I was invited to become a coach, to teach and train his content worldwide with Brian. And then I also decided I wanted to write a book about, my experience of actually finding my soulmate. It just really transformed from there, where, just months later, I actually made a complete reversal of that autoimmune condition when I realized that deep down I was a perfectionist and that I feared disapproval, that I was internalizing self-criticism, and it was literally undermining everything I did in life, including what had basically made me give up a career as a professional bodybuilder and model. But I just felt like I really wanted to transcend that and not really just, abuse my body and, just have those high swings. I really just wanted health and wealth and balance. And basically in a short amount of time, we're talking, less than a year, I was able to turn my nursing income, which making, about 50 grand a year, to that's now what I make in a month. And I basically put in my letter of resignation 3 months after joining Bob's business. I wrote a book that I wrote it in December and spent, the last 7 months perfecting. And then I officially launched it in July, became a #1 bestseller in 27 categories and in 5 countries. And I have 6 revenue streams. And this is all in less than a year. And it's just simply because I tapped into my inner potential. I started to follow leaders who have done the exact same thing. I started to really develop a love for reading books and meeting people just like you, Allison, who are here to help people and get a message out there to empower and inspire. So if you can just see the difference in the shift that I had, is I didn't know that I could be a #1 bestselling author. I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't know that I could, start working in sales, for organizations and to really make, like you said, more than a doctor makes, working not 80 hours a week, not spending $250,000 on my education, or basically investing $250,000. I started my businesses up, for almost next to nothing, but it's just that I found that investing in my personal growth, Jim Rohn says, income rarely exceeds personal growth, is really what allowed me to accelerate, make quantum leaps into this. That's why I was able to do so much so fast. But it's also because my programming in my habits positioned me to succeed, to accelerate, but it's because I want to commit myself to doing this and to follow a proven system. And again, literally, just fall in love with what Bob teaches. But getting back to your point, I just want to give the background to show the shift and the transition in my identity. Is I went from being totally, I would say, disgusted with myself. My self-image was so low that as soon as I developed confidence and started to love me, which is what I describe in the book, everything started to change. And like I said, even people struggling to make money, I'm like, if you don't think very highly of yourself, if you don't have confidence, if you don't have a good identity, how do you ever expect to be successful and wealthy? I mean, again, these are basic principles of mindset that really are the fundamentals. It's like you can't expect to get the big things of life if you don't master the small things. And like I said, we all want to, jump the rungs of the achievement ladder, yet we're not willing to start at the basics. We all want, what we wanted yesterday. We want it fast, but it's like, how committed are you to getting it? So for these people that, want to do what you're doing and, get into network marketing, start multiple revenue streams, we've got to help them develop the awareness and build that new identity that, yes, you can do these things. And what really does it matter what other people think? Honestly, seriously, why would you, I really, that's the thing is, as a bodybuilder, I was always so vain about how people look at me. I have to be perfect. And again, that doesn't serve you. So you have to be able to, again, consciously say to yourself, is this thought serving me? And if not, I like what T. Harv Eker says. He says, thank you for sharing. Let your mind know you acknowledged it and start shifting to what you want to focus on, building that day. You should be so busy being successful that you shouldn't have time to worry about anything. Worry is such, again, a misuse of imagination. Let's focus on what we want, create a clear path, and that's all we want to focus on.
It's so interesting because success has so many different measures. I know a lot of people, when I was young, there was a doctor who was a really young doctor. He had 2 beautiful kids, a lovely wife. He was a specialist at a very young age. He was accomplished. He had accomplished everything, and he committed suicide. He was so unhappy. And I know so many other people that I work with now that are professionals. They have multi-million-dollar businesses. They're hugely successful in their careers, whether it's architects or whatever, whatever they're doing. And they're strapped. They're caught. They're just chained to their work. They're not spending time with their families. They haven't had a vacation with their wife in 5 years. All these things are going on. And to the outside world, it looks like they have achieved success. But deep down inside themselves, they're desperate. They're just desperate. So we have so much of that going on. It's a juxtaposition of what society expects and what reality of living it is. It's really huge. I just wish that people had some idea. I just wish that people really knew what is possible in this world. Right. Joy and so on. And I think it was Abraham Hicks said something about, success is measured not by the things, not by the accolades, not by the money. It's measured by the amount of joy you feel. Is that, that must be where you've tapped into when you're talking about getting into the zone. You must be just milking joy, in your life.
Yeah. And it's just understanding too, is doing all that I did, and even anybody who's achieved success is you're only just seeing the tip of the iceberg, because there's a lot of, pain and sacrifice sometimes involved in, again, getting rid of those inner demons and the layers and the paradigms, because like I said, it's not a pleasant process. It's not an easy process. And that's why I recommend, working with a coach that's going to hold you accountable during the tough times. So again, yes, I really focus right now on just being in a good mood, because I know that when I'm in a good mood, I'm in receiving mode for what I want. If I'm feeling anything less than good, again, every single cell in our body's got a positive, negative charge. My whole body will shift to negativity, and then therefore I can only attract negativity. So that's why I really focus on positivity, but obviously creating that, as a habit. So I don't even have to think about being positive. It's just my natural state of being. But I think that success, we have to realize success is a system based on law. There are no accidents in life. And obviously we give what we get, law of cause and effect. So if we, again, put good out there, good will come back to us like a magnet. And that's what I said, my book, Magnetic Love, is talking about becoming a magnet for what it is you want. And basically I said, it all stems for us. We're the source of everything we create, everything we attract. And again, if we basically don't understand these principles, we're basically, getting things in life out of a hit or miss basis. And most of the time people are missing. You know, they're not landing, you know, what they want. They're not getting the job they want. They're not living in the house they want. They don't have the partner that they want. But again, a lot of it is that, like I said, everything we attract in life is a reflection of our inner thinking. So if we don't like our results, we have to realize, what are our results coming from? Deep down, they're coming from our belief system, because again, our beliefs inspire thoughts, which thoughts create feelings, which create behaviors, which then create results, and the cycle repeats. So if we want to be successful, again, we have to study people who are successful. What are they doing? They're investing. You know, success, again, a lot of people say, well, when I have a lot of money, that means success. And I was like, well, Tony Robbins would say that success without fulfillment means nothing, which means that, you know, you have people, you know, unfortunately, like Robin Williams, very, very successful, you know, and he was one of my favorite actors, but, you know, they said that one of the reasons he died, you know, he took his life according to what they said, but he made everybody happy but himself. You know, he was very good at making people laugh about, you know, anything that guy wanted to do in life, you know, whether it was, you know, become the best, you know, best actor in this, you know, just a lot of different things. He achieved everything. But deep down, there was something still missing, is he didn't fulfill what he wanted. And that's not selfish. Like I said, you got to take care of you first. Because again, you can't give what you don't have, including love. And I kept, you know, kidding myself, and I was in denial about why I wanted a relationship. It's really because I didn't love myself, that I wanted somebody to love me. Even though I said I wanted to love them, it was really out of this desperation within me. And like I said, I didn't understand what was going in my mind. And that's why, again, I was attracting all the wrong guys. That's why I found myself miserably single. But again, until I started to study, again, the power of my mind, what was going on subconsciously, because again, we communicate with energy. We can feel vibes from people. Even though somebody's not saying something, we can feel it, you know, and like I said, that's intuition. And it's so, so powerful when you can understand yourself, study yourself. I mean, we've never done that before. Again, formal education would not condition you to study yourself, love yourself, teach you anything about wealth. And so that's what I'm saying is a lot of what Bob teaches, about what some of these great thought leaders are, just empowering people, giving them information that they never got from their education that literally will change their life financially, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally.
It's so fantastic because, you know, the work I've been doing for 30 years is polishing every facet of the diamond so it can shine. Okay. Yep. And I'm working on practical levels too, like nutrition and exercise and all that stuff. And so really, you know, everything can change once our thoughts change.
Right.
And so on. And you had a kind of like a basis already, because in order to be a pro-natural bodybuilder, in order to do your nursing degree, in order to do all of the things that you were doing and succeeding and excelling at before you discovered Bob and had your own paradigm shifts, you had to put in the grunt work.
Right.
You had to put in the hard labor, the sacrifice. And it's like you said, it's just the tip of the iceberg. A lot of people are afraid to do the work. And a lot of people too, their social circle holds them back because they don't want them to change. They like the fact that they can, you know, whatever they do. What comes to mind is, you know, sitting there drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and partying or whatever that might be, whatever it might look like. Your social circle, your friends, and the people that care about you and stuff like that, they don't want you to change because they're afraid that you'll just kind of go out of their realm. You won't be available for them anymore.
Right.
This kind of thing. So there's so many different little factors that play into holding people back. Or in the case of health, you know, there are people that get something. They're getting a reward from being ill.
Right.
You know, I just had a car accident recently, and I'm going through all the physiotherapy and this and that and so on for the pain. Do you think I want to live in that space? No. You know, where, you know, but people are getting a reward. They're an invalid. They're getting served. They're having all these different things. How do you work on getting rid of these factors that are pulling people back, even if they want to change?
So one of the things is we have to realize is that, you know, our environment does play a role on our success, you know, because energy is contagious. So if you're hanging around with a crowd of people, that's why they say, you know, peer pressure or somebody's a bad influence, is because, you know, the more you're exposed to people, like if you want to be successful, you've got to be around successful people. They need to be influencing you. And they say, you know, if you're the smartest person in your group, you know, you need a new group if you ever want to go further beyond that. So that's the thing is, like, you know, I don't worry about people. Like if somebody, you know, is a friend of mine and, you know, developmentally we stretch and, you know, it doesn't matter. But I have no problem like cutting people out of my life that are not on the same frequency. They're not in harmony with me. And naturally they'll probably distance themselves because we're no longer on the same level. We're not attracting each other. The relationship maybe has transcended or changed. But basically people need to make a conscious decision that they want something, because again, desire is the strongest reason why we ever are going for something. Because again, we're humans, we're driven by reward. So we're either moving away from pain or towards pleasure. So we have to make a choice, like I said, to consciously shift the paradigms that might be pulling us back, because there are always going to be forces doing that. You know, they say life will put challenges in your way to make sure that what you want is worth fighting for. So you've got to say to yourself, when I make a decision, you know, like Tony Robbins says, you got to burn the boats. You don't give yourself a way out. And that's the thing is, as humans, again, we're almost sometimes working against our program, because again, we're designed to survive. We're not designed to be amazingly in fit shape. We're not designed to have multi-million-dollar companies. Again, because that stuff is uncomfortable. We're designed to find food, procreate, you know, and just to survive. So again, the people you see out there that are most successful is because they've made a decision. And I like Earl Nightingale, who was Bob Proctor's mentor, says that success is a progression of a realization of a worthy ideal. And so basically what it's saying is that you're a success if you're doing what you want and you're good at it. You know, because there's a lot of people, again, doing what they don't want, getting results that they don't want. And like you said, even if on the outside it appears successful, but at the expense of what? A life? Because you have money, but yet you're not able to spend time with your family, or that you're working yourself into the ground and now your health's failing, and then you got to spend money to make yourself healthy. So like you said, I find that success is just doing what you want, being completely free, and just like you said, feeling good. What makes you feel good? Do more of that. You know, just touch other people's lives, make memories, because like, you know, sometimes even me, I'm tempted to work. I actually enjoy what I do for work. You know, now it's more like my life's passion. But that's the thing is, I just think that life is about balance. It is. And that just define your own definition of success. But the power of a decision changes the frequency. So all these people that feel these forces pulling them backwards, it's that awareness, that self-discipline and self-control, that we can consciously decide what it is we want and actually act on those decisions. Because a lot of people, they hesitate, they procrastinate. They don't even know how to make decisions, because that's, again, another thing we weren't taught in school.
I think it's fear-based. You know, I think like they're hanging on to their cloak of misery because it's what they know. And, you know, when I look at people that are kind of like where you were, at the bottom, you know, they're at a place where it's like really a low point in their lives, that can become familiar. Whether it's, you know, having, I don't know what they call it, but when you're getting money for being disabled, like some kind of a disability pension or something like that, it's like this golden glove, because you're not allowed to earn money outside of that without being penalized. And they put themselves in a place of fear where if they do earn money, what happens? They're going to lose that, and that's their stable. Or people that are stuck in corporate jobs. You know, that lots of my clients that I've worked with over the years, they have this golden glove and they hate their job, but they've got medical benefits, they've got pension, they've got this, they've got that, they've got all these golden glove things that are holding them in place. So maybe it's fear of, like it's a need, this need for security or something, this fear of security, when in actual fact, it's BS. There is no real thing of security in life, don't you find?
Yeah, I think that, and I actually touched on this in my book, is they said, you know, sometimes, like I said, I would stay in a relationship even though I know that it wasn't really good, because we would prefer suffering that's familiar over fear of the unknown. And so that's why, you know, we stay in jobs we don't like, you know, we'll stay in relationships because we just think, oh, it'll get better, or we just lie to ourselves and just, we don't like change. You know, we'd rather just say, well, you know, I'd rather not risk it being worse than this. But again, you know, we're in control of our destiny, whether we do it by default or by design. And that's why I teach people is live by design, create your universe. And like I said, you know, if you want to attract better things, become a better person. If you want to attract a better lover or your ideal soulmate, you've got to build up you first. You've got to be somebody that's desirable, you know, and be what it is you want, because we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. So a lot of people are, you know, not aware of what they are, what their gift is, what they have to offer another person. So that's what I'm saying is my book, and like I said, why I'm referring to is it's so powerful, because there's a lot of different teachings in there about how to get what you want, how to define what that is, how to avoid making some simple mistakes that's blocking you from getting what you want. So So yeah, I think that that's huge. And like I said, we have to realize, like, and I actually referred to Jim Carrey in my book too, is that we only have two emotions that we're acting out of. It's either fear-based or love-based. So if you catch yourself acting out of fear, you've got to stop yourself and say, listen, I want to act out of love. Shift that decision, make a habit of doing that, and it will be on autopilot. But again, right now, we because we're not aware of this power between our mind, we're basically programmed, by society, by the media, and we're ignorant of these universal laws that, again, are working. They're indeed invisible forces around us, that we just literally have to tune into. We have to learn how that like I said, our bodies are just an electromagnetic frequency. Yeah, under a microscope, we're a vibrating ball of a mass of atoms. And our energy moves us into these states, that our emotions are basically a conscious awareness of vibration. Are we vibrating high? Are we at high frequency? Or are we vibrating low at a low frequency? So again, we can only attract to us what we're in harmony with. So it would probably behoove most people to start getting on the frequency of what they want, finding out how to do that. But that doesn't happen just because you're aware of it. It happens by changing the paradigms, because it goes to the root cause of our problem. Ignorance is, like Bob says, the common denominator of every problem. What's the opposite of ignorance is understanding, knowledge, and understanding how to apply that knowledge. Because otherwise, like I said, I really like this, and I'll give you this, Allison, is he actually says, when you're ignorant of something, it creates worry and doubt. And then worry and doubt impressed long enough on the body is actually expressed in the form of fear. And what happens is we don't feel fear, we suppress it. But then what happens is anything that's impressed on the body, because again, the mind and the body are very connected. The body's an instrument of the mind. So we impress fear on the body. It's expressed in the form of anxiety. And guess what we do as a society? We treat the effect. We give people Valium, or we give people a drug. But yet we never went to the root cause of the problem. Why was that anxiety to begin with? Where did that fear come from? It's from a lack of understanding. It came from ignorance, came from worry and doubt. If we create an understanding, there's no need for worry and doubt, no need for fear, no need for anxiety. We're a peace of mind. So again, that's one of the things, again, we're not talking about society. We're always treating the effect of our problems, wondering why they're always repeating themselves, when we can actually just create understanding. And how do we create understanding? The opposite of ignorance is through studying. It's through having a mentor that, again, teaches you how to tap into that inner potential so that you can live a life of you desire, not just a bunch of things of you feeling stuck, which is basically the invisible cage of those paradigms.
Okay, I want to ask you about faith. Okay, because you started off by saying, you can choose fear or you can choose faith.
Right.
So faith, do you see faith as a religious construct, or what is faith?
So I think that the reason why a lot of people think of faith as something religious is because that's what we're exposed to, is like, oh, you got to believe. But I think that people believe on two planes, because again, we have to realize we have this conscious thinking mind where we store information, but yet we have the subconscious mind, which is in control of executing behavior. So again, the part of our mind that thinks, that knows, is not the part of our mind that gets us results. So when we think of faith, we really can only go as far as our beliefs will allow us. So again, our self-image, what we believe of ourselves, what we believe is possible, literally creates that threshold of what we will get in life. So we have to realize our beliefs influence our ability to have faith in something. So a lot of people, they have to learn this art of believing without seeing, and just having this unwavering belief that, like I said, it's success is based on law. Anything in life is based on law, meaning that it operates everywhere for every person all the time. It's irrefutable. The laws of nature cannot be bent. The law of gravity, you jump off a building, you're not going to go up, you're going to go down, unless you find out how to be lighter than air. Because anything heavier than air gets pulled to the center of the earth. It's like physics. Like I said, it's the principles that Einstein studied. So like I said, you can either work in harmony with the law, or you can work against it. And like I said, sometimes indecision is decision. If you choose not to work with them, you'll be by default working against them. So getting back to what faith is like I said, is realizing that you can never truly receive something until you truly believe it. And so a lot of people have a hard time because they can't see something, because they can't see a clear path to how they might achieve it, that they just give up. They don't think it's possible. But the people that, when you understand this process of basically impressing these images on our subconscious mind, even like I said, our imagination, anything that was ever invented was once just an idea in somebody's mind that was brought to theory, that was finally brought to fact, brought to conscious awareness. Okay. So we've been conditioned as humans to basically make decisions, and our beliefs are based on logic. But again, what controls logic is our paradigms. So what one person might think is possible, the other person might not believe that that's possible, but that's because that's where their programming is. So yet you see people that like Bob, limitless thinking, strong super beliefs, because like I said, when you believe in something strong enough, but that deep down you're not thinking 100 other incompatible thoughts about how doubtful that is, you have to realize like self-doubt or doubt of any consequence is an anchor to belief, so we have to basically cut the anchor of self-doubt or doubt of any consequence and say, like I said, two choices: doubt, faith. What are the opposite? What do you want to believe in? Because like I said, I always tell people, like, if you don't believe in something, it's basically just saying, well, the answer is no. It's like, why not feed faith, and take the chance that it could potentially happen. But then that's the thing, is it's all or nothing. Again, you can't say, yeah, I believe up here, but it doesn't be, yeah, who are you kidding? You know what I mean? Those are two conflicting thoughts that obviously create, conflict in the mind. And so that's what I'm saying, is when we turn our thoughts, our beliefs into their spiritual equivalent, and it basically penetrates all time and space into this infinite intelligence that we have, that's what creates the form from the formless. Our thoughts create frequencies that penetrate our world, attract what we get. Like I said, we use our imagination to create. And that's what God put us on this earth to do, is to do his work, which he's the creator. We're here to create. So faith is believing without seeing, but it's truly not just wishing or hoping something, but truly actually believing without a shadow of a doubt that it is possible.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And I know that for somebody that is stuck and are in a place where they can't even see their beliefs are limiting them, they just see their results. Yeah. And if you're looking at your results now and your results are not what you want, then I highly recommend that you work with Jenny Lynn and you take a little bit of time and a little bit of energy and a little bit of focus, and you allow somebody who has a bird's eye view that can see, because like sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. When you're blocked inside and you're locked inside of this paradigm, whether it's, the input you've had from your parents and whatever input is going on in your life that's holding you stuck, you might not necessarily know what the key is to open it. So, Jenny, I think what you are talking about is really essentially being able to find awareness. You can give people awareness, and the awareness is what precedes action. Because if they become aware, if I become aware that I have a limiting belief and I didn't know I had it before, but you could just talk to me and you could go, Allison, you're holding yourself back in this area here.
Right.
And I can become aware of it. Then I can start making conscious steps. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is a lot of people, they get started, they've got these intentions, and they, like I said, you get the analogy of, New Year's resolutions. Everybody's going to go to the gym, yet a month later it's empty. And so the thing is, like, they had the intention to do something, but it's like, why didn't they not follow through? And so we have to just realize, if we want to create permanent changes, we have to go to the root cause. We have to change the paradigm. And again, it's changing our habits, which, as anybody knows, is not an easy process, but it's the most liberating thing you can do. But when we all realize, like I said, our eyes can't see what our mind isn't ready to comprehend. And again, we're stuck in our own minds. Again, these paradigms are like invisible cages. When you say I feel stuck, it's basically because your spirit that's basically craving to be expressed and grow is just stunted. It's almost like it's in a cage and you want to let it out. And like I said, that inner potential within you that's begging to be expressed, how do you tap into that? You have this infinite amount of talent and ability within you. You can do anything you put your mind to, anything you want. But yet most people are stuck, unfulfilled, broke. It's like, how do you get there? It's basically a culmination of poor choices, bad decisions, negative habits, negative thinking. So we got to stop that train from rolling there, develop this awareness. But again, this doesn't happen by just, again, thinking about it or wanting to do it. It happens when you make a commitment to follow a proven system of how to do it. Because again, it's not an easy process. It's not a pleasant process. I certainly could not do what I did, like I said, in those 9 months that I was just explaining, going from nurse, to, millionaire and best-selling author and getting anything I want, top sales executive. So it started with building an identity, but it started with, like I said, following the guidance of a mentor like Bob Proctor, who literally founded the personal development industry back in the day with Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant. And understanding, like I said, you can't do anything in life of any consequence until you invest in your personal growth. That's really what attracts that success, that fulfillment to you. It all comes from within. So that's what we help our clients with globally is basically it's self-empowerment and transformation.
So it's a system, and that's a system cannot fail except for its weakest link. So if it's a system that's been put together by people like Earl Nightingale, who mentored Bob, who's now mentored Jenny Lynn, it means that the system works. It's not dependent upon the individual. It's the system. And a proven system that can do what you're just a shining example of it, Jenny.
Right.
You know, that can do what Jenny Lynn has accomplished. It's huge. That's huge, you know, because you can take a system and you don't have to worry, well, you know, do I like this teacher? Do I not like this teacher? Do I resonate with this individual? Do I not resonate with this individual? No, it's the system. So it's just like if you're going to, if you have a broken leg and you're going to have your leg operated on, you're not concerned about necessarily, you know, you may be unconscious from your accident. It's not who is doing the operation. It's the system that they're using to operate on your leg to make your leg better. And I think systems are really important rather than willy-nilly. If we try to do it ourselves, we're like going here, getting a little bit of this, getting a little bit of that, getting a little bit of this, and it's all airy-fairy little bits and pieces, and we don't know how to put it together.
Right.
You're offering a system, and the system is okay. You start here, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here, and at the end of it, you're going to be a new person.
Right.
I think that's brilliant.
Right. And what I found, and, you know, and I've invested in, you know, book writing mentors, you know, Bob Proctor, personal development, internet marketing mentors, anything I ever did, I found a coach because I knew that I'd be able to get where I wanted to a lot further, go a lot further and a lot faster. And I like fast results. Obviously, as you've seen the transformation I've done in over a year, you know, this is what quantum leap thinking is all about. And it's absolutely incredible, you know, what you can do when you start to become aware of these universal laws. And like I said, our past experiences and limited thinking are just a result of the ignorance of these universal laws. So it's very, very powerful and inspirational. Once you commit yourself to a system, when you master that system, it really does create life-changing things. Like I said, you don't basically change yourself by reading books or, you know, watching videos on YouTube. Like, again, that's not a system. That's kind of like dabbling a little here, a little there, but never really doing enough to change a habit, like I said, which requires a laborious process, like I said, which most people won't commit to because, like I said, they're not willing to do the work. Well, there's, you know, no reward without the work. But that's the thing is you see these people like you who started off, you know, starting doing maybe network marketing, like I said, might be overworked and underpaid, but like I said, that exponential income growth, now you're independently wealthy and you've got everything that you want. It's like, how did that happen? It started with a decision, started with an idea. You know, and then, like you said, I'm sure you have mentors that you follow too.
Well, definitely. I mean, I've done years of software development in the computer world and so on. I'm 60 years old now, so I've dabbled in a lot of different things, Jenny Lynn, you know, and succeeded. As soon as I would succeed at something and knew I could do it and so on, it would be, okay, what next? I was bored with it. You know, it was just the challenge. And unlike most people, I thrive on challenge and change.
Right.
I love change and so on. And this last thing that I'm doing right now was just, oh, wow, I can do something that incorporates everything I've ever learned. And I spent years getting mentors for everything I wanted to do. Everything I wanted to do because, like you, I believe the universe loves speed. I love speed. I love accelerating learning and success. And so I always had mentors, but I was always a mentor.
Right.
Because everything I learned, I would take, I would teach. I'd learn, I'd take, I'd teach, and so on. And I think what you have to offer is extremely valuable to people. I think your system is something that is definitely proven. I've certainly seen so many examples of successes that have gone through this coaching, and it's huge. Right. So how can people, I'd like my listening audience to be able to get in touch with you if they want, and you know that they're they're coming from me and so on, and we can have some way to see how this all fits together and so on. What would you suggest? What would be the best way that you would like people to be able to reach you? I was even thinking they could email you. I don't know how busy you are, but if people, you have different things that, you know, you have a gift report on love and relationships for people that are interested in that aspect. You have your book, you know, which you so generously offered to just have the people pay for the mailing, even though it's for sale as a top seller book right now. You have another gift on self-love and healing, which is like paramount to the whole basis of everything.
Right.
And you have a report on building financial freedom. So there's a whole multitude of areas where people, if people are interested, that they can start getting in contact with you, not to mention embarking on a coaching program with you. So how would you like people to contact you? Would you like people to, I can put, you know, below this video and stuff, a contact link where people can contact you and they can tell you what they're interested in?
Yes, I think email would be the best way, and they can just let me know that, you know, they saw this video from, you know, you and I. If they mention your name, you know, obviously I wanted to know, I can give them a special thank you, and I know that they saw this video so that they understand the content of what we discussed. And then really, again, you know, I'm very grateful for you, you know, basically sharing my story and sharing what I have to offer, and that, you know, I just truly care, you know, about other people, and I just want to see them succeed as much as I wanted to succeed. And that's why I wrote that book, is so I could reach more people than I ever could, you know, just individually. So yes, I think that we could, as we send this video out, we can put a link down there. They can personally email me.
Tell me your email now. So it's
Yep.
spelled out twice. Okay, say it once and then spell it out twice, so that people watching the video can definitely get in touch with you.
Sure. So it's Jenny Lynn at jennylynn.com, and it's JENNIELYNN at jennylynn.com. So jennylynn.com, JENNIELYNN at JENNIELYNN.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jenny, you know, I really appreciate your time, and I get it. I totally get it. Grok you or whatever they call it. You know, this coming from a place of love, coming from a place of service is incredibly joyous, incredibly joyous. And this has been the reason that in all the different careers that I've had in my life, there's been one sustaining one, and that's the longevity rescuer. That is something I will do forever and ever, help people in polish every facet of the diamond. And you are doing the same thing. You are helping people with that between the ears, you know, which is one facet of the diamond that is very, very important. So I appreciate you. And I know that my listening audience shares the same sense of appreciation. I speak for myself, and I believe I speak for a lot of people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. And like I said, likewise, it's just, you know, the fact that we're able to come together and provide something that we know is going to benefit a lot of people. I mean, that's all we're here to do, is share information that we found that helped us. You know, you're here to help people look younger, feel beautiful. And again, and I'm here to help them obviously understand the power of their mind. Like I said, you put those two things together, it's like, that's the essence of life. You know, living in a happy, healthy body, being, you know, wealthy, abundant, joyful, and obviously having people to share that with. So thank you so much again for having me a guest. I really appreciate that as well.
It's interesting because it really is, you summed it up so well right there. Because, you know, if you don't have your health, what do you have?
Right.
But if you have the mindset and you have the ability to change your paradigm and change your consciousness, and then you can wrap that up with a healthy body, and you can look younger, feel younger, you can have financial abundance, you can have peace of mind, you can have the full thing of a complete life with healthy relationships with people. That's life. Mm-hmm. And we're going to work on that, everybody.
Well, I hope that they got a lot out of this, you know, some really thought-provoking things that really just inspired them to, again, take action on your dreams. You know, whether people decide to work with me or not, like, I'm always just happy to share that information, because information's free, you know, but sometimes we don't always value what's free. So like I said, don't let this information die. don't let your, the dance and the joy die within you. Like, make sure you live, a life and make memories and just go after what you really want. You don't want to be, 70, 80 years old on your deathbed regretting of the things you didn't do, the things you didn't try that you really wanted.
So true. So absolutely true. So let me know what you felt about this. Okay. Email me. Let me know what's going on. And Jenny, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah.
Right back at you. Thank you.
I love it. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. And don't forget, email Jenny. You can get all those freebies and everything. And definitely let me know how you enjoyed this, because there's tons of content on this. So watch it again and again and again.
Thank you.